color in a lot of my classes in high school, but like it didn't really mean anything because I had already been in like predominantly white environment for middle school. So I was just like, okay, and I think because for me, it's possible that it was uncomfortable, and so I just ignored it. But like, conversation never really came up about it. Nobody ever would say, "You're the black girl. What's your take on slavery?" That kind of stuff. And there's only one time I think we were doing like a lineage, and this was also a long time ago. And like I don't know what my parents are beyond. Like they grew up in America. Their parents grew up in America, so they can't trace their ancestry back to like whatever African country. My dad's like, I'm from the West Indies. That's like 5,000 islands. Like we don't know. Mm-hmm. And so I mean, at that point, I was like, oh well, it's kind of sad because everyone's like, yeah, I'm Irish and German and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And everyone was like, oh no, that's so sad. But it's like, I think, as far as how I live my life and everything, I'm a human being, I guess.
Well, that's a nice way to put it. I like that. I'm a human being. Somebody had a hand up. Was there a hand up over here? Oh, okay. That thought went over. But, just to be aware of these things because in different situations, I've heard of classes where, like, especially with young kids, and sometimes young people are very just like curious and don't have some of the same boundaries. And let's say everybody has straight hair in a class, and one person is your hair in class. A little girl can come up and say, "Why is your hair like this?" Just little curiosities, not because something's the matter with it. Just kids will notice difference, and they may not have the same filter to say something about it. And so instead of just brushing things aside, it's a chance to just, pay notice of it. Now, here's a perfect example. Let's just take these two tables. Okay, now one could just look at this table and say there are a bunch of white females here. But everybody put out your forearm and we're going to see that many different colors of skin. Okay, and you can do that with a bunch of kids in a classroom, and you see all these different shades of skin tones. So it's not, that we lump anybody in a group. Even this table of all these white females. You could have added your arm in there too. Okay, and we will start to notice all sorts of different tones. And so if you have kids in class standing next to each other and noticing, like, her hair's curly and my shoulders are big and hers are little and my hips are doing this and her hips are doing that, allow your students, give them a healthy way to notice the differences without people becoming an aberration or something weird. I think that's a very healthy way to deal with all this otherness, and try not to use words that separate. So what's some of the language that we should try to avoid? Yes.
I was always the tallest.
The tallest.
You'd always you're too tall, and you always get stuck in the back. And I, as a teacher, do not do height lines. I do not place people by height because
Interesting, because of your sensitivity to height. Okay.
Honestly, something that I kind of wrestle with when I'm teaching ballet is the gender thing, because
Girls and boys drive me crazy.
well, it's like all the girls are being fairies, and then so like you tell the boy, you be a dragonfly, or do you let him choose, or what?
That is like there are entire courses of study just about that. And ballet's the worst because it puts people.
And it does have gender rules, right?
It has
so it's like,
gender
are we preparing
rules.
them for life, or are we preparing them for ballet?
Yes.
It's hard to know where to go with that.
Yes, ooh, and everybody wants to talk about that.
No, I agree that you have. I can't stand when they don't let little boys just choose if they want to do something where they give them a role.
If they want to be a fairy,
because
why not?
I know that one of the little guys that I take care of, if we all have butterfly antennas on with that like a headband, he's gonna go, I want one too, and I want it to be green.
Yeah.
Thanks. And he'll put it on like, oh, we're wearing pink shirts today. I want to wear a pink shirt. Like he wants to have that choice to be able to choose a rainbow or a pink thing or a butterfly. Like, and too often they go, oh, but you're a boy. Don't let. It's like if Jamie wants to wear butterflies on his head, Jamie can wear butterflies on his head. Let's go.
Yes.
Doesn't that then get into like? I totally agree. But then should we be giving girls a choice as well?
Yes. Yes,
Like-
we should. If the boys
We
want,
don't
if the
do
girls
that.
want to
If
be
there's
a
only-
pirate, let
Yeah,
them be a
if there was
pirate.
only
Yes.
girls in the room, we
Yes.
wouldn't say to them, like, you could be a fairy or a pirate. We're going to say, let's be fairies.
Yes.
So we got a choice of toy war. When I was a Teenage Mutant Turtle.
Yes.
That's the most
Has everybody-
mind-bending.
Yes. Has everybody seen the troughs? They'll perform at least once in the time you're in school here. At the Joyce, probably. Yes. So you should go see them. You know, the only thing I really appreciate you're open-minded about this. There's a slight layer that you have to be careful of. Parents.
Yep.
Okay, you don't want to, so you will have parents, you will have some of the parents who say, why are you gender stereotyping my kids? And then you have the parents saying, why did you let my boy be a fairy? You know, so you've got both sides. So it's a very funny place to be in. As a parent, what would you do about it?
I actually have seen that experience was I used to work at a private school as a dance teacher full time, and the dance class was mandatory for everybody as their PE
Right. Yes.
lecture, and a father didn't want his son to actually take the class, the dance class. So, but it wasn't an option. It was created. It was a mandatory class. So we had to do a meeting with the principal and the parent and other staff of the school. So it was a big issue about it because the father didn't want. He was like, no, there's no need for my son to actually take dance class. I don't want him to take dance class. No.
There's some problems here. Lots of hands went up about, we'll go 1, 2, 3. Okay, start.
Two situations. One was a little girl was in next class, and she had a new brother, and every day she went to class, he went with her, and he always asked his mother to dance, and she always said, no, you have to go to soccer,
Yes.
you have to go to the martial arts,
Right.
something like that. Another situation was in physical education class, and they decided to add dance as mandatory
Right.
to our process of teaching. And one mother came to us and told that her son couldn't do that because of the religions, his religion. So this school, the principal decided that that was the rule of the school. So if he was there, he would follow. And I was like, oh, but, you know, I think it's very difficult and delicate issue to deal, you know, because it's about option, you know.
Right.
It was good for us as teachers, you know, but
There's not like one solution for everybody.
yeah.
The solutions need
I
to
just had a question. Did the little boy from the class want to take the dance class?
And he was talented.
Oh,
It was really
So what
hard
was the
because for
solution?
you as a teacher actually see a potential.
yeah.
And I actually kind of would not agree with the father or was had probably the same concern as a parent. Some moms and dads notice that there are some types of feminism in their boys because at very early age you could actually start noticing whether your boy or girl has other sexual preference, right? So yeah, this little boy was maybe I can't say, but he was feminine, but he loved dance. He was 7 years old. He was very potential. Yeah, it's really hard. But that depends on the family and what's going on at
Right,
home.
at home.
Because I have a straight male brother who's a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
And he started when he was 7 years old. And why? Because I was taking classes. My mom had no other choice but to send both of us to ballet
Yes.
because she wasn't going to take him to baseball and me to ballet. So we both had to do one or the other one together.
Yeah.
And
There's no one right way.
it's like at the beginning I'm not wearing tights, but then yes, he ended up wearing tights.
Is he a performing ballet dancer?
He's actually a principal dancer, yeah.
Where is he?
Columbus City Ballet.
There's never
Yeah.
one size fits all, yes.
I was going to, our conversation before
before really brought me back to a book that we read, the entire faculty of my school read, called Whistling Vivaldi, which is about stereotype threat and a whole bunch of research that has been done on it. And the book takes from a story of this African American man who realized that in mixed company, when he felt that everybody around, because he was this black guy, he could sense that the discomfort in the room, and he would whistle Vivaldi, like do 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 do, and everybody else would become like. And he said he could feel the tension in the room evaporate. What that says about the state of our world, I'm not going to get into because, but we, as an entire faculty, read this book because, as a school that has been as lily white gets for years and years and years, we're finally starting to diversify and have more shades of the rainbow in the school, and we're really trying to take care of everybody as they find their niche in this environment. But it brought up the idea and the point of critical mass, of having people who you feel you have a commonality with around you. So in your non-existent spare time, I highly recommend it. The other thing I was going to say with regards to the issues of boys in dance class, I found that when I have one little boy in a class, I leave the imagery out, and I do creative stuff that's all based on whatever the movement concept is.
So you don't have any like human
And
gender role.
That's a good
solution.
I don't use too many I try to avoid ballerina fantasy imagery anyway, because because I used to use it a lot, and I still, think of a princess crown and, beautiful earrings and blah, blah, blah. But I tend to just leave it if there's 1, 2 little boys in the class.
Well, when you think of that, you're being fairies to go for what kind of movement type? Quality of movement. So exactly what you're talking about is just to talk about, let's try moving with these qualities. And think about maybe even things in nature that have those qualities rather than an archetype.
Yeah.
And you're probably in a safer place. But I know ballet has such a lineage of fairies. You're going to be a fairy.
Dance like a fairy. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not going to get a job. So
Yes.
it's
But then
tricky.
you have to decide what the class is for.
That's right.
If it's
yeah.
if it's an exposure class,
Yeah.
we'll put that aside. But if it really is a pre-professional
It's
program,
trickier.
yes. Yeah. But I think there has to be open communication with parents when they bring their kids to a class. And you can talk about, I create this kind of environment, and I, want everybody to be comfortable here.
I think it also stems from your faculty too, because I teach at a studio in Connecticut that's very conservative town, and we have a male instructor that's very feminine. And
Did you work with Adam by any chance?
what's that?
Did you work with Adam?
No.
No, different school. Okay.
And it's interesting how the parents have responded to him instructing their students or their kids. Some love it, and it's almost like a foreign thing to them. Like, oh, look at this guy, he's teaching our kid. Like it's so foreign to their world. And some are very like offset by it. So I think that she is sort of, this is my environment for my dance studio by having the faculty that she has. So I think that also
So that makes a statement to the